Drivers, start your engines.
You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. I'm welcoming you to another lap of the Extra Mile for tonight, June 13th, 2019. All right, everyone, welcome to the show, and we have a lot to talk about, and unfortunately, not a lot of it is good, especially if you saw that Canadian Grand Prix on Sunday. We are going to get all into that. And also, good news, Halie Deegan won her third race of the season. The bad news, or not third race of the season, third race of her career, excuse me. The bad news, well, we will talk about that as well later on in this episode. But before we get all into that, I have to welcome in my co-hosts, Lita Camillo and Caitlin Seen.
Hello, hello.
Sorry, I can't hit the mute button fast enough. Technical difficulties.
So apparently we gotta figure out what's going on with Spreaker, guys.
Yeah,
so my drivers, start your engines tonight.
Well, hopefully they'll be able to catch it on the replay, because we are also recording this and posting this to YouTube as well. So if you're watching on YouTube and listening on YouTube, hello, this is the Extra Mile here on iSports Radio, now on YouTube finally.
So
and I want to welcome you guys in. And yeah, we got to figure out this ad thing, because people are missing the starts of the show, and that is no bueno. So we are here, and we're going to get into the show. Before we go, Caitlin's only going to be here for the first 30 minutes because the Raptors decided not to close out the NBA Finals on Tuesday.
They had, it was on Monday night, and they had
Monday,
me.
excuse me.
I was committed on Monday. I didn't have to work. We didn't have the show. It was perfect. I was amped. I did my screaming debacle at a bar and had a great time. I out-yelled Warriors fans like I professionally do it. And they had to lose at the end of the game. And yeah, so now I got to go yell at them some more. Because, well, it's the finals. And it could be the last game. So kind of, it's a need. I'm sorry, Rays fans who hate basketball. I do apologize.
Well, knowing that, let me get your opinion on this real quick before you leave. What did you think of the call in Canada?
I think that it really could have turned into a conspiracy theory about how we're all like, can anybody other than Mercedes win a race this season? And then you have this moment, and they go, F1 goes, no, we still need Mercedes to win this race. Because I think that Lewis Hamilton got away with a little bit too. I think that it was kind of a dual thing. Was Vettel innocent in this debacle? No. But was Hamilton innocent in this? No. I feel like he kind of egged on the move that got him in trouble. So I think it was kind of stupid, and it kind of reminds you of the whole vibe you get when NASCAR throws a debris caution and there's no debris.
I remember those.
With this one. Yeah. It's one of those things. I thought it was dumb.
And
it was very fitting for F1.
Unfortunately. And we'll get into more of that in the second segment of the show. But now we're going to get into what happened at Michigan International Raceway on Monday with the Firekeepers Casino 400. Was supposed to run on Sunday, but rain decided to push the race to Monday. And all being told, it wasn't a bad race from an on-track passing product, except for the lead, as Joey Logano dominated, leading 160-30 of the race's total 203 laps in route to victory, and you still had a lot of people upset because of the aero package on the cars. I think we've just reached the point of the season where NASCAR fans are just going to be mad simply because this package exists, and no matter how good the race is going to be, they're just going to be mad because this package exists. So I don't think we...
Yeah, and don't you dare go on to NASCAR Reddit at this point in time in the season. Let's be honest there.
Yeah, and here's my thing about it. I understand people don't like the package or the rules setup that NASCAR has, but the constant, near weekly complaining, and I'm about to pull a Dave Moody here, I think. If you feel this strongly, why are you still here?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still
here.
here.
Well, I think sometimes, here's an outside of racing thing that kind of arose that I feel like is very fitting for this situation, and why NASCAR fans are still NASCAR fans, even though they hate it and complain all the time. It's because people, I feel like, systematically need something to complain about. Like, for instance, working in the service industry, we got a ton of rain this past week. And last weekend, one of the days we were there, and it like crazy torrential like rainstorms. And we were all like, okay, not much, in the terms of like people are going to come in. But we were like, oh, people will still come in, and they do. And then they complain about getting wet in the process of coming in, even though it's pouring rain outside. So people will still go out, but they'll complain about going out in the rain, even though it's raining. Like, there's something in us that you innately still need to go do something in order to complain about it. So I feel like a lot of people just at this point, they are like NASCAR fans and they complain about it, but they can't not complain about it. So it's almost like this like negative addiction. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think that's like what we're dealing with in this situation. Like, I think that's why so many of these people who like complain absolutely all the damn time about it, like, I literally think it's just because they need to complain about it. Like, they need something to actually complain about at this point in time.
Well, like how
it's just one of those, like, go ahead. Like, it's just one of those things that I honestly think that's what it is.
Well, Couch said on Twitter, the races have been good this year. The TV coverage just doesn't show it. I will agree with that statement 100%. They do not show a lot of the racing that happens in the mid to back of the pack. For most of the race, they will have the camera locked onto the leader, just logging laps. And that is one of the problems with the difference between the TV coverage and the race coverage, because they don't show a lot of the mid-pack battles, unfortunately. But the way I look at it, if you don't like the rule set, why are you still here? Come back next season when they change it. If you do like the race, the rules package, let's talk about the racing. Yes, there have been some stinkers. Pocono, California. Michigan was not it. We thought Michigan was going to be bad, and it actually was a pretty good race, I'll be honest. Plenty of passing throughout the field. Unfortunately, we did have a couple of cars get torn up, Austin Dillon being one of those. But then Clint Boyer, who ended up getting taken out, comes out to do the interview, and he's just, and I'm going to try to reenact this. He just comes in, got his head down, like, oh, man, this ain't racing, because he got taken out. So he's basically pulling the Kyle Busch, I didn't win, so the package sucks. Really, guys? That's where we're here now? That's what we're down to at this point?
Well, and that's going to egg on fans, you know what I mean? Drivers saying stuff like that and complaining about it isn't
and that
is going to
up the fans.
Instigate it with fans.
Mm-hmm. And then we know Kyle Busch didn't have a good race, and he ended up finishing fourth. I didn't hear his interview, but I'm pretty sure he had one of his patented interviews at this point. I'm just over it. If you're a driver, take it to the officials and say, next year, we got to change this, and this. Other than that, stop bringing it out to the media, because what is going to be done about it now? The season's already the season's halfway over. So we're stuck with this until the end of the year. So what?
Well, and here's the thing. Oh, go ahead.
So what do you want them to do about it? They're not going to do what they used to do in the early 2000s and change the rules in the middle of the season. That they went this route with the cars to get away from that because that got annoying and that spends a lot of money. That the teams don't have, by the way.
Right, and I think part of it is I think that the teams that are the most successful right now are the teams that are embracing this for what it is and going from there. And I think that's why you are seeing JGR dominate a lot. And even Penske has been very, very strong. But if you look at it, Stewart-Haas has not been this strong this year, at least not as strong as I expected them to be. And so I wonder if that's part of it with us seeing with like stuff with like Clint Boyer being more verbally loud about how this isn't racing and how he's not whatever. And I think a lot of that is coming down to, which teams are embracing this package and trying to make it work for them and which ones are just trying to be stubborn about it and fight it, because that's not going to do you any good.
I mean, you can fight.
And part of me wonders is if you are seeing some of that split come from who's, for who's leaning which way.
I think it depends. Joey Logano loves this package, and he came out and said, I don't know what else the fans could want. Of course, he's been successful in it, so you take that with a little bit of grain of salt. And then we've heard drivers like Kyle Busch and Clint Boyer. Kyle is the one that is kind of odd because he's leading the championship, and, well, we know how he is. But it's just a situation where I'm done with the complaining. There is nothing we can do about it until next season. So, well,
negativity just breeds more negativity. So I think at some point you need to kind of check yourself. And I think that, especially, I think a lot of NASCAR fans, racing fans in general, we tend to be this, or even sports fans as a whole, you almost just have to be, prepared for that, because negative Nancy's just breed more negative Nancy's.
Yeah.
And it's no fun after a while. It's just not. It's not fun to listen to people complain all the time in anything.
Well, then it gets to the point where you try to say something positive and people call you a sellout for not acting like the sport sucks and is going to die tomorrow. It's like, we're at this point where if you say anything nice about NASCAR, you're a sellout? Really? That's what we're doing now?
Yeah. Which, on a positive note, at least everybody didn't hate on Joey Logano for dominating a race and winning it, whereas if that would have been Truex, literally all of NASCAR Reddit would have imploded.
Well, NASCAR Reddit has some sort of issue with Martin Truex Jr. I don't know if he got into it with NASCAR Reddit Jesus, a.k.a. Matt Benedetto, at some point, but they do not like Martin Truex Jr. whatsoever.
At all. I just thought that was the funny part is I honestly kept expecting people to complain oh, well, Joey Logano led the whole race, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, nobody's complaining about this.
Right.
It's kind of weird. And I was like, oh, wait, it's not Truex. Never mind.
It's also weird that Joey Logano is now in this point where he's actually being cheered because he used to not be in that position.
I still will not cheer Joey Logano. Joey Logano.
I never had a lot of issues with Joey Logano. I don't know why everybody else just doesn't like him.
Well, I am a Truex fan, so that's part of it for me. Him and his squinty, douchey eyes.
Well, we'll move away to that situation. We're actually going to jump down a level to K&N. And there was a bit of controversy at the last lap of their race that ended with Halie Deegan picking up her third career win, where her teammate on the restart muscles her out of the position. So on the final lap, going into turn 3, she does it right back to him, takes him out, ends up winning the race. And a lot of her teammate gets on Twitter acting like he posts a retweet of the wreck with the comment, "Mama said if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all." And I just sit there and like, dude, you ran into her first. Even if she's this ain't F1. Even if she's your teammate, you do that, you're gonna get paid back. That's short track 101. And then other people are complaining about it happening. Nobody's complaining about her because she's a fan favorite. If y'all don't shut up.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. I'm so, like, I think that's one of the things that I appreciate about her.
Mhm.
And we've seen so much disappointment in women in stock car racing and the potential with drivers, or the non-potential, I guess you should say. And I think with her is that, and I try not to get too hopeful, but I do feel a little hopeful with her and the future, because she does hold her ground so damn well in that car on these tracks.
Well,
like,
she's being managed well, as well. She's being managed well.
Yeah.
In addition.
Yes, she is. Well, and I think too is that, and I think one of the things, at least from what I've seen in all of this, is that her people do not forget that she's a girl, but they do not use it as a crutch. Mm-hmm. They just acknowledge that other drivers are going to use it against her, but they're going to use it to her advantage. And I think this is good proof of that, is that I'm going to do this to her because I can get away with it. But then all of a sudden this girl reminds everybody that she also has claws, and they're like, oh, what?
Yeah, the cat
not going anywhere.
The cat has claws, as it were. And I could bring
she's reminding of them that. And she's standing her ground, which I think is the smartest way that you can do this. And then not only is she standing her ground, but she's proving that she can also win races.
And we can bring Lita in on this on this little comment. I know she has her feelings about NASCAR and all, but Lita, we have seen a graveyard of women race car drivers that just haven't panned out. Aaron Crocker, Joanna Long, Jennifer Jo Cobb, Natalie Decker, to a certain extent in IndyCar, Simona De Silvestro. You know, we've seen a lot of women come into the sport, have some high-profile hype behind them, and then not do anything. I think right now, it's nice to see a girl with some hype, and she's actually able to win. And I say girl because she's 17, not to belittle that. She isn't an adult yet. But she's actually coming in, she's racing, she's actually winning, and is actually being managed properly by her team.
So, what is the question?
Well, the question is, with all the, just all the women that we've seen not pan out, it's just, don't you think that's just nice to finally see a girl actually able to win some races and be successful, even with the controversy over how she won?
I mean, yeah, but now I feel like we're also discrediting, like, Catherine Legg, Christina Nielsen, like, the ones that are actually doing really well in their respective sports. They're not everyone is. We're not seeing. We don't have as many. I don't want to say failures, but maybe letdowns. Not as talented. So I think we are entering a spot where we're starting to get a little bit more traction, and I honestly think just it's great that there's a woman out there that's actually, winning some races and doing it the right way. Yeah, maybe it's a little controversial in this particular instance. However, the worst thing about being the minority in these events is you're going to be the most scrutinized no matter what. So I feel like every move you make is watched more than everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where the downfall is. But I think it's a stride and it's a step in the right direction of what we're trying to accomplish here. So I think it's great. I mean, yeah, it's not, this particular win might be a little dicey, but it's happening. But I do want to point out there are other women out there that are, owning it, just they're not in as nationally watched.
Yeah, I should have.
As the other ones.
And that was my mistake. I should have just kept it focused simply to the stock cars with that. Because in stock cars, they have not had as much success. I mean, before Halie, I think the highest profile one was Danica, and we saw how that went. We thought Aaron Crocker was going to be something, but the less said about that, the better, because we don't want Caitlin to rage off on that. because she has feelings about that, and I have similar feelings about that, but she has to go in 10 minutes, so.
I would get the popcorn out for that. But anyway,
to verbally destroy someone tonight.
Hey, Michael's here. Kind of snuck in on us.
You guys didn't know. You guys didn't know I was here. I was here the whole time.
I did not know you were here. I'm so sorry.
Oh wait.
I'm not looking at my phone right now because I'm driving, and you should not be on your phone and driving. Hence my headset.
I had the Twitter screen up, so I did not know Michael was here at all. I would have brought him into this conversation a lot sooner. I'm so sorry, Michael. Well, hello.
Hi.
He's gonna leave because we all forgot him. Like, screw you guys.
I feel so bad.
I don't think I could ever come into a conversation for that long and not say anything, so I'm really impressed with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an interesting conversation, so I was just listening to it. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I'm a part of this podcast. Hold up.
Yes, you are. So we're talking.
I'm not just an observer.
Right. So we're talking about the Halie Deegan situation and the controversy around her basically spinning her teammate on the last lap after getting roughed up by her teammate. And my whole view on the move is, look, dude, you can be as surly as you want. You moved her first. You get what you get after that. And then somebody...
I completely agree.
And then somebody got into a fight, or got into a mini spat with me on Twitter about this, about how, well, when Denny Hamlin took out Chase Elliott, everybody booed Hamlin, but everybody's cheering Deegan because she's a fan favorite. And I said, hold on. Context of these two incidents is important. Chase did not hit Denny before Denny just ran him over in turn 3. Also, it was not the last lap when Deegan did what she did. When Hamlin did what he did, excuse me. Deegan wasn't the last lap. Halie got roughed up on the restart by her teammate, stayed in second, came on the last lap, turn 3, and gave him the same back. He couldn't control it and gave him the same back, got into his left rear corner panel. He couldn't control it, spun up the track. Denny just drove straight in the back of Chase Elliott and put him in the turn 3 wall. These are two completely different incidents. So before you start talking about this person's a fan favorite, so they get cheered, this person isn't, so they get booed, you need to look at the context of how the incidents happen, and then it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're good at looking away from context.
Because that type of stuff happens in NASCAR all the time, but it's just different because apparently she's a fan favorite and a woman apparently. But yeah, I don't keep up with NASCAR news sometimes. But yeah, would it have been any different if it was a man or a guy just putting somebody in the wall? If it was just any other driver, they'd have just been cheering like usual. But because it's someone different, it's just, I don't know. And plus, I feel like sometimes it ties into what Caitlin said about how people just need something to complain about.
Yeah, well, I think we're just hypersensitive about it because I'm in the Halie Deegan camp because Lord knows as far as stock cars, we need a win when it comes to female drivers.
Oh, yes. And also it's stock car racing, like I said.
Yeah.
Dumping each other into turn 1 happens all the time.
Yeah, and, in Indy cars, we've had our successes with Catherine Legg. We've definitely had our successes in sports cars with Christina Nielsen, and now she's in the all-women car in the 57 for Michael Shank, and they've been doing extremely well this season. Had a chance to win the race at Mid-Ohio. But stock cars needs a win, and hopefully Halie Deegan will be that win. So we cross our fingers on that. Now this will be part of the.
I do truly feel like if she keeps going the way she's going, I feel like she'll end up surpassing Natalie Decker and becoming our next female driver inside of the upper classes of stock car racing much quicker. I feel like than Decker will. Decker has to figure out how to finish her race first.
I hope so, and I'm crossing my fingers that they don't rush Deegan to Cup too soon. Because the worst thing they could do is push her to Cup before she's ready and destroy her confidence, and that'll be the end of that. So, to the team that's managing her, kudos. Please do not push her to Cup before she's ready. Let her develop. Exactly.
In more ways than one, I guess, because she's still a child.
True, but we're gonna.
You really just had to.
For the damn record, Lita, I didn't say one bad thing on the show last week. Not one. Not one.
Yeah, she actually kept it clean the whole show, so she had to kind of make up there. So.
She's got time. Watch, something's gonna happen.
And I'm also on the show for a little bit longer, so I had to get it in while I can.
Yeah.
I had to make it a quickie.
Yeah, you did.
So the top 10 from Michigan was Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Daniel Suarez, and Kyle Busch in the top 5. 6 through 10, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Newman with a top 10, Ryan Blaney and Alex Bowman, who Bowman unfortunately just found out that he'll be losing a sponsor nationwide at the end of the season. So bittersweet news for him, but it was pretty much a Ford lockout of the top 10 where 7 of the 10 positions were taken up by the Blue Ovals, and Ford ends up winning the race at Michigan, so they win in their own backyard. So that's good for them, and usually this will be the part of the show where I tell you about where they're going to be racing next week, but the Cup Series is off this weekend, so they'll be taking a break. The Xfinity Series and Truck Series will be in action in Iowa, and Seth Eves and I will be on the call for that one for USRN on Sunday. That race starts at 5:30 p.m.
I will
Eastern.
say I am a little salty they took away Michigan on Father's Day weekend, because it was such a tradition for me and my dad. Like, that's how I got into racing, is that we would go every Father's Day weekend in Michigan. Like, that's how it started for me in that tradition. Mm-hmm. And so, like, every time they, take Michigan away from Father's Day weekend, I'm just like, wah, wah. I'm like, man, it was, such, I don't know, such a pure thing as a child, you and your dad going to this race for Father's Day weekend, it was such a cool thing. So I'm glad that they get it off and, spend with their families. It's good. But it just used to be such a really cool tradition, so I'm a little bummed about that.
Hopefully that's a tradition they can bring back when or make permanent, when they make the Gen 7 schedule here soon.
I certainly would appreciate it. It was fun. It's always good. There's just certain traditions that are a lot of fun, and I think that's where, NASCAR can kind of, if they settled into the traditions on those kind of events, we don't need to go back to old school anything. Just keep those little traditions because that's something that anybody can do is, oh, hey, why don't I bring my dad to a race for Father's Day?
Yeah, and that'd be nice.
Yeah.
So let's go through the top 10 in points quickly, where we've had a switch at the top in the race for the, I guess you want to call this the NASCAR regular season participation trophy. Topical. Joey Logano now has a 9-point lead over Kyle Busch. Brad Keselowski is 73 back. Kevin Harvick, 75 back. And Chase Elliott, 83 points back of the leader in 5th. And then 6 through 10 is Martin Truex Jr., back 115 points to the leader. Denny Hamlin, back 123. Kurt Busch in 8th, back 129. Ryan Blaney, back 180. And Alex Bowman, currently 10th in points, 181 points back. So that's what NASCAR looks like. Caitlin, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye as you're about to go watch, hopefully, the Raptors wrap up their first ever NBA Finals crown. So enjoy that.
The way I see it is that the Blues just ended their cupless entire history. They have been around an expansion team for 52 years, and they finally got their first cup ever. So if they can do it in Boston, home turf on Game 7, then the Raptors sure as hell can do it at the Oracle tonight in California in Game 6. And on my show, I did call Raptors in 6, so now the pressure really is on for them. And also, I can't watch the game if it's Sunday, so they really need to win tonight.
Yeah. So we'll close the book on the Deegan conversation before we go to break with a comment from Couch Crew Chief on Twitter. You can contact us on Twitter. I'm at DKJunior12. Lead us at Lolita Camelo, and Caitlin's at Caitlin Seam. Also, Michael at Stargazer_FX. I'm not even a Deegan fan. I wish her well, but not a fan. That being said, I have no problem with how she's racing. As long as she doesn't turn into a weapon, we've seen plenty of those, or some snotty driver, I'll be excited to watch her. And I think that's how everybody feels on the Deegan situation. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, We're going to talk about probably one of the biggest stewarding blunders in recent F1 history, but for a variety of different reasons, and we'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Two Wheels Wednesday is the place to come for all your motorcycle sports news every Wednesday on iSports Radio with myself, Matt White. All the latest news, rumours, race reviews and previews from World and British Superbikes and the big one, MotoGP. Two Wheels Wednesday, every Wednesday on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
What up, all you boxing fans? This is Vince Wright, the sports governor, and me and Gilbert Batista are the host of Ringside on IE Sports Radio. Make sure you keep it tuned to IE Sports Radio, Spreaker.com for the latest edition of Ringside. All the boxing news you need right here. Keep it tuned, Spreaker.com, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, IE Sports Radio proudly brings to you its intergender tag team champions of the world. Yes, I am Martin Sandoval. My co-host is Felicia, and we are the hosts of The Gorilla Position, live Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. We bring to you all the latest in news and rumors and opinions and perspectives on the world of professional wrestling. We bring you guys the latest in WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and including independent wrestling such as Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and here VIP Wrestling live from Texas. Yes, it is the Gorilla Position with myself, Martin Sandoval, and my co-host Felicia, live on Spreaker.com and on iTunes.
Hey, welcome back to the Extra Mile here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And before we continue, I want to give a quick shout out to everyone out there that has been supporting IE Sports Radio over this season. Thank you so much for helping spread the word of this amazing network. And we're going to continue on with the Canadian Grand Prix, which was won by Lewis Hamilton, but unfortunately we had some controversy in that race where he was battling with Sebastian Vettel. Hamilton was closing in, and as they were going into, I believe that was the fourth turn on the racetrack, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, Vettel makes a mistake, ends up going across the grass, tries to get back on the track, get back in the racing line as Lewis Hamilton was going for the spot. Lewis has to back out. Vettel is handed a 5-second penalty for the incident, which set off a firestorm of criticism over F1 stewarding practices and how they deal with the incidents. Vettel did not stop. Vettel ends up crossing the line first, yet Hamilton gets the win because he was not able to get a big enough lead for the 5-second penalty to not matter. And the crux of the argument for the stewards was that when Vettel came back on the track, if you watch the in-car, he makes a little jink with the wheel to the right to turn the car back onto the racing line and into the path of Lewis Hamilton. That is where he ended up. That is why he ended up drawing the penalty. A lot of people were not happy with the call, so I will bring it to Lita and Michael. First, what did you guys think of the steward's decision in this incident?
I honestly felt that I think it was fair that a penalty was supposed to be accrued in this situation. However, the 5-second, added to his time so that he ended up in second, even though he passed the line first, was a little off-putting, to say nonetheless. I honestly think that they could have figured out a better penalty, like a stop and hold kind of thing, which I think is more appropriate for those situations. I mean, there's nothing worse than racing a race and still managing to be up front, but being punished for it afterwards, beyond the fact. So you're like, I won. You really didn't. But you did. So I think it would have been better to increase or to enlist something and execute it during the race rather than after. Yeah, that was kind of my feelings.
Michael, what was your feeling on it? Did you think it was a good call?
I know that I said that I believe that it wasn't the right call, because I honestly believe that it is a racing incident. Like, yeah, he made the jank, but honestly, they have access to the telemetry. They can look and see if he tried to do that or not. But I just think it was a racing incident. Part of me was like, yeah, maybe the penalty was deserved for the corner cut. But then again, he did lose time for the corner cut, so I'm still on the fence. But in my mind, I believe that it was a penalty, not a penalty, but it was an incident. He just came too close to Hamilton, and in my opinion, if both the cars were fine, then let him continue racing. Hamilton's in a Mercedes. He could he can pass him if he wanted to, but. It's just this is why I kind of lean out of Formula One, because I feel like the drivers, as talented as they are not allowed to race. And yeah, it's racing, and there's gonna be contact. There's gonna be guys spinning out. There's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff. But we come here to watch that. And honestly, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Mercedes just out in the lead by like 10 seconds from the field, whereas I hate to throw this out here, but in Formula E, there's an indefinite fight for the lead. And in Blockpan GT3 racing, there's always a fight for the lead. There's always racing. There's always contact. People are allowed to race. And in Formula One, it's just always taken away, and it just irritates my soul, because I like seeing a good race. Yeah, I wanted Ferrari to win. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I did want it battle. I wanted someone different to win.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to be taken away because of a penalty where both the cars were fine and nothing crazy happened. Battle even lost time when he. Well, to me, it looked like he lost time when he did the corner cut. So I'm just angry that a good race was ruined by a penalty.
My feeling on this incident, I said it, by their rules, it's a good call. And Couch did not agree with the call either. He said it was hard racing and there should have been no penalty. My thing is, to the letter of the FIA rules, Vettel impeded Hamilton unfairly. It is a penalty. So it was a good call by the rules. However, the rules are completely nonsensical for what we are doing. And I'll put it this way, the same way I said it in our group chat that on a Monday after the race actually happened. Formula One at the turn of the decade decided that they were not Formula One, but the FIA, the actual sanctioning body specifically, decided that they were going to do away with what we call the United States racing deals, which are just incidents that come from what happens when multiple cars are on a track at a high rate of speed. There's bumping, there's rubbing, and sometimes people get knocked off the track, and it's really no fault of anyone. It's just a racing incident. We see them on every short track in America on a Saturday night. Somebody gets into somebody, and they ended up getting driver A gets into driver B and ends up either going around or sliding up the track into driver C, and they all go around, and it's just a racing deal because they were fighting for a spot. Everybody's trying to make a position. The FIA decided that they were going to remove racing deals from the equation, and they were going to start adjudicating incidents like we were driving down the highway, where there's always somebody at fault. So they have removed the racing deal from sports car racing and every sort of racing that's under the FIA umbrella. Now, if there is an incident, if there's a contact between cars, 9 times out of 10, it is investigated. They assign blame to a driver, and they penalize that driver, much like you would receive a ticket or a summons to court after a traffic incident, say on 495 out here in Maryland. That's great on 495 where you're going 55 miles an hour and you're supposed to be paying attention. Not so on a racetrack where you're doing over 200 miles per hour. The closing rates are a lot different than on the highway. The split-second decisions are a lot different. And sometimes on a racetrack, you just flat don't see someone, or you flat make a mistake and try to recover and end up accidentally causing an incident. But the FIA decided that racing deals no longer exist, and every accident has someone that's at fault and someone that should be punished. This is a terrible system for racing, because now you've made a situation where drivers are afraid to pass. But let's be real. They're afraid to pass because if you make contact with the guy, you might get assessed a 5-second penalty, or you might end up having to do a drive-through for avoidable contact. And it makes it to where a lot of the races become processional, because you could make a move, try to dive bomb someone and catch them off guard, but you can't do it because if that person ends up spinning, you're the one that's going to be penalized because they're going to say you intentionally tried to take somebody out when you didn't. This system does not work for motorsports. And I could only shudder at the thought if they tried to do this in NASCAR. It would be ridiculous.
It would be completely awful, and it's not just NASCAR that would be bad. It would be GT3 racing. It would be touring cars. Just imagine the freedom to race just being taken away from you. You might as well never call yourself a race car driver if that sort of thing was to happen.
Well, at this point, you're just riding around on a really faster highway trying to avoid getting into anybody, because once you get into somebody, that's it. You're in trouble. But that is the least of the concerns with this, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier, and Lita brought this up, the fact that they rotate the stewards out for this. So every steward has a different thought on what is a incident where a driver intentionally caused contact and what incident is not. And then the penalties, as well as Lita mentioned, can vary from steward to steward. So this is a system where you're legislating the races like traffic on a highway, and you're rotating the traffic officer. So this is creating nothing but a lot of confusion. It's creating a lot of discontent in the fans because the drivers aren't racing because they're afraid to race, and then it creates a situation. And Lita, we've heard this on the radio, where anytime a driver so much as gets bumped on the track, they're jumping on that radio button and screaming back when he was alive to Charlie Whiting that, oh, this guy needs to be penalized because he got into me.
Yes, I hate that. I hate that so much. I yell at I'm sorry to cut Lita off, but I yell at my freaking TV saying, shut up.
I actually just refuse to listen to most of the in-car commentary at this point because I'm so sick of listening to the whining and everybody like on the defense. Yeah, it's difficult, and I don't know if it's a rotation so much as I think there are some of the stewards are not always consistent, so there might be a couple. I don't know exactly. I don't remember exactly how it works, but and I think goes for multiple motorsports too. So yeah, you're lacking that consistency, and on top of it, like you said, now you're also setting precedents. But here's the other problem is, yeah, you might get penalized for that, but I think what infuriates me about this particular call compared to just in general is thinking about some of the races already for this particular season and the things that they're just like, well, yeah, you don't need a penalty for that. Like Grosjean a couple weeks ago ran off the course because he was trying to run an unsafe pass in the same exact corner 3 times in a row, and manages to get himself run off the track and has to awkwardly re-enter the track off the pavement. And they kind of just shrugged it off that's just something Grosjean does. But in a lot of cases, any other driver that would have pulled that off would have gotten penalized. So yeah, the rules are dumb, but in the fact that they're not held to the same consistent measure. So we're kind of getting calls all over the place. And I know you guys are not exactly, you feel that Vettel shouldn't have been penalized necessarily for how that went. But I am going to say how I saw him come off the track. I think there was a little bit of room for him to have kind of figured out where he needed to go. And yeah, Hamilton is too hungry for it that he's not going to try to run almost an at fault on both sides. have been somebody else finally winning a race other than Mercedes. So, yeah.
That doesn't help either, because now we get the people that are assuming that it is that they're showing favoritism towards Mercedes. And I said this on Facebook. Okay, if the FIA was going to quote unquote cheat for someone, why, instead of cheating for the team that apparently has 60% of the fan base and their own rules veto, which is a whole nother story we might have to save for next week, they're not going to help that team win. No, they're going to help the Sylvie boys win another race just because. Like, that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense, but this is the can of worms that the FIA gleefully decided that they were going to open up, and it helps absolutely no one, because it doesn't really make the racing better. It just muddies the waters about what is and is not racing at this point.
Right. So it's like you said, yeah, to some extent it will make drivers more cautious because, oh no, what if I do this and it messes this up? Or, hey, what if I do this and it messes this up? And I don't think that's necessarily as much as what we need to focus on. It's really that you can't figure out what's going to be punished and what isn't, because who knows? You could get punished for one thing in Spain, but by the time you get to Mexico, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, there's no consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got to figure out, well, the one thing they need to do, I think they just need to stop officiating it this way, and the only time they need to assign a penalty is that if it's something especially egregious, like when, ironically, Grosjean was in the Renault and took out half the people at the start at Spa. That is where they need to get involved. But anything other than that, the sanctioning body needs to stay out of it. Second, there needs to be, if you're going to have this panel of former F1 drivers, fine. But it needs to be a consistent panel, and they need to commit to being at the races weekly if they're going to do this, because the different people with the different philosophies of the penalties and the punishment thereof is just going to make things a lot more, it just makes things frustrating for everyone, especially those of us watching the race. And third, they need to do away with the time penalties. It needs to just be a penalty where you come down pit lane, a drive-through penalty, or stop-and-go penalty. Or just make all the penalties for avoidable contact a drive-through penalty. Because there is no reason to add the 5 seconds on, and you're not going to make them stop, so that the driver that crosses the line first isn't the driver that actually wins the race. And then we get incidents like what we saw at the end of the race on Sunday, where Vettel's switching the boards in front of the cars and basically throwing a hissy fit because he didn't win the race because of a penalty that probably should not have been called when we look at it.
Can I point out, and I understand people are pretty upset about this, and I'm sorry if it infuriates other people. However, maybe the call for the penalty was kind of ridiculous. However, the way that Vettel conducted himself following was the most childish act I have seen out there on the grid. And
it was not good.
Was mortified for Ferrari seeing that. I was like, good God, man, you're in your 30s. You've been doing this for a long time, and you're going to be like a 3-year-old and throw a tantrum in front of the entire world on Sky Sports? Really?
I think at that point he was just frustrated. I think actually got to him.
I get that, but man, come on, keep your shit together. I understand it's frustrating. You're running for a team that can't keep its shit together, and you're not doing very well either. And to be honest, most of the time he digs that hole for himself. But you know what? I could see a Verstappen losing his shit out there because he's still a kid and not mature enough. But you've been doing this for so long. Are you seriously gonna throw signs around like, meh, I should have gotten this, and then like walk off. Like, let's be adults here and like try to have some finesse or suave. It's really hard to have sympathy for someone that's going to do something like that.
That, and everyone's just kind of, well, not everyone, but like a lot of people are just saying, oh, he's going to retire anyway at the end of the season.
Or get fired.
Or that. And I'm like,
it's
how are you going
retire
to fire
or get
him?
fired.
I'm like, how are you going to fire him if you don't really know who you're going to replace him with? Let's be real here.
I mean,
it can't be Giovinazzi because he's still getting smacked around by Raikkonen.
Giovinazzi would be just embarrassing again for Ferrari. So.
Well, I know some Italian papers were saying it was going to be Mick Schumacher, but Mick hasn't even run Formula 2 yet, so...
Yeah, he's got a way up the ladder to go.
Yeah.
They can throw up Danny Ricciardo on there, but Leclerc's he's still going to be number 2 to somebody, so...
Yeah, so this is just... They've got a lot to figure out in Ferrari. But the bigger thing for Ferrari, because we haven't even talked about the race yet, but if we get into the race, Ferrari's in trouble now because that straight line speed advantage they had, that is starting to go away because Lewis Hamilton was able to catch Vettel with relative ease in Canada. So even that, what advantage they did have on the straights, that is starting to go away on the high-speed circuits.
They actually had an advantage on the straights?
Allegedly. But...
Okay, I personally don't see it with the five Mercedes wins in a row. I personally didn't see it.
Yeah, well, what advantage they had there is starting to go away as well, and they're still saying they haven't fixed the problems with their car, and we don't know when there's going to be a fix in the future. So this season is really getting away from them, and this did not help whatsoever for their confidence or the Tifosi's confidence at all. So, yeah, the F1 really stepped in it with this one, and hopefully they make some changes to the stewarding, but it's the FIA. They're French, so... we will see. They tend to like the way they do things.
Yeah, it's working so well.
Yep. So the official finishing order of the Canadian Grand Prix is Lewis Hamilton from Sebastian Vettel from Charles Leclerc. So Ferrari got a 2-3. So at least they got both their cars on the podium in this race. Valtteri Bottas was 4th. Max Verstappen was 5th, the last car on the lead lap. Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hülkenberg, Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, and Daniel Kvyat round out the point scorers. That changes the standings in this way, where the leader is still the same. It is Lewis Hamilton. Valtteri Bottas is second with 133 points. Vettel is third with 100. And the team's championship, well, Mercedes is running away with that 295. 172. Red Bull Racing Honda third with 124. And then it's McLaren, Renault, Racing Point, BWT, Mercedes, Scuderia Toro Rosso, Haas Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, and Williams yet to score. And I don't see that happening. In fact, I'll ask you guys, what do you think is going to happen first? Do you think a non-Mercedes is going to win a race, or Williams scores a point?
Wins a race, because let's be honest, Williams isn't gonna score a point anytime soon. They had their best chance was with Monaco, and they still didn't get one. So,
is it bad that I honestly want to say Williams scores a point? Because, yeah, I don't even know where to go from there. I honestly think Williams has a better chance at scoring a point than somebody has at winning a race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Leclerc almost did it until, Ferrari happened.
Yeah. Hopefully Ferrari will get something fixed, because the way it's looking in the F1 season, it's not going to be a lot of fun. But, you know, it is a lot of fun? Hot Laps. So get to listen to that here during this break. When we come back, we'll have the final segment of the show. We're going to get into the IndyCar race in Texas, and there were some absolutely amazing saves made in that race. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
From the home plate to the nets, the end zone to the finish line, here nothing is off limits and no sport is safe. Not what it seems, with your host Caitlin Seam, bringing you sports like you've never heard before. Catch me Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on IE Sports Radio. The only question is, are you ready?
Hi everybody, it's Calvin here from USRN, here to give you an important message. Since 2017, we have done our absolute best to provide you with nothing but the highest quality of sports calls in the greatest of quantity possible. Thanks to you, our station has grown more than we ever thought. That's why, with your help, we would like to grow even further. Just think, twice the amount of your favorite calls, 24 hours of coverage, talk shows, play-by-play, game-by-game analysis, and so much more. That's right, USRN2 is officially in development. But we can't do it alone. We have set up a GoFundMe page that you can access from our homepage on the left of your screen. We also are planning special giveaways and prizes to our highest donors. Our goal here at USRN is to bring you the best calls possible at no cost to you. In order to continue to do that, we need your help now. Please check out our GoFundMe page, and if you would like to know how you can help, you can email usrnradio@gmail.com. Without your support, we couldn't do what we do.
My NBA, college basketball fans out there, tired of hearing about just the dramatic stuff in the basketball world, tired of hearing about what such and such wore tonight, and not about the game? Hey, leave all of that alone. Because on Wednesday nights, I got this show called Fast Break with Phil Jones, here on the IE Sports Radio. And all we talk about is straight basketball, from where it comes down to the NBA, the NCAA, and even the WNBA. I don't discriminate. I give all my NBA, my basketball, whatever you want with sports, to the slam dunks, to the three-pointers, to the teardrops, to the game winners. I'm there. I'm speaking about it. I have a debate. I have my panel. I got a squad that rolls in, and we're going to be talking mad sports. We're going to be talking about the Lakers. We're going to be talking about even the Brooklyn Nets. We're going to be talking about who's the top team out there in the NBA. So, tired of all the drama, tired of all the. What did he wear today? What kind of shoes he had? Forget all that. Just come over. Listen to Fast Break with Phil Jones here on IE Sports Radio every Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time, y'all. So, yo, tune in.
Welcome back to the Extra Mile here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It's time for another Hot Laps. Matt here from Two Wheels Wednesday to bring you up to speed with the comings and goings of World Motorsport from the past weekend. We'll start at Texas with the Truck Series. Greg Biffle comes out of retirement almost to take a victory in the Car Busch Motorsports truck on Friday night. They were sporting IndyCar, of course. At Michigan, supporting the Cup race was the Xfinity race. On Saturday, Tyler Reddick picking up the victory. We had some Two Wheels action over the weekend in Spain at Jerez. World Superbike were there. Alvaro Bautista continued his strong run this season. He's got one hand of the trophy. He took 2 of the 3 race victories, but crashed on Sunday, leaving the door open for Michael van der Mark to take his maiden win of the year. The DTM were in Italy. Wins for Marco Wittmann and Nico Muller at Misano. Supporting that championship, of course, was Formula W Series. A win for Jamie Chadwick, her second of the season. British GT held its silver lining race of the year at Silverstone, the Silverstone 500. Callum McLeod and Ian Loggy winning in a Mercedes. And that pretty much rounds up Hot Laps for this week. Let's have a look at nearest to win, because there was points scored all over the place this weekend, and Larry B has actually extended his point lead in nearest to win, which takes a break this week. No Cup race, no F1 race, and no IndyCar, so Larry has a 5-point lead at the top. He's on 19 to Caitlin's 14. Darrell is on 11. Matt Owens from USRN is on 9. Lita is on 8. I have jumped up to 7. Couch Crew Chief is on 6. Seth from USRN is on 5, along with Michael down over the bottom of the table. Michael, I know you want to do nearest to win for Le Mans. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. And Toyota will win if they get to the end. So that's Hot Laps for this week. No nearest to win next week, as I mentioned, but we'll be back with a triple shot of it the week after, with Paul Ricard, Sonoma and Road America to pick for next week. So make sure you get your picks in nice and early for those 3 races next weekend. Another Hot Laps on next week's show. If you're staying up to watch Le Mans, good luck. Back to the crew.
Thank you so much, Matt, for those Hot Laps. And guys, check out Grid Rating on Twitter. There is a new leader, but you're going to have to go check it out yourself. Look up at Grid Rating on Twitter to see your rankings on the international motorsport landscape. So before we get into IndyCar, I would be remiss if I didn't say that this week is one of the biggest, the biggest sports car endurance race in the world. The 24 Hours of Le Mans is coming up this week, this Saturday and Sunday. Guys, are you excited?
I am always excited for Le Mans. Oh, I'm sorry. I cut off, Lita. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I was evil giggling, and I'll let you finish before I take away your happiness.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. Oh, she's doing her evil laugh.
Let Michael finish.
I'm going to go back and clip that laugh for a sound bite, I swear. Continue, Michael, continue.
I'm always excited for Le Mans. It is one of my favorite races ever until I find something better. But it's a spectacle to watch, and it is a personal challenge also to see if you can stay up for 24 hours. I lose every year. This might be the year. I'm sounding like a Toyota fan, I know. But this might be the year I stay up all 24. I know Lita wants to say something. I'm just going to let her say it.
Sorry, I'm choking. Continue.
Oh, no, I'm good. Go ahead.
Where's
take it away,
Caitlin when you need her?
No.
Oh, okay, Daryl.
Okay. When are you the one that brings on the double entendres here? Anyways, continuing. So I don't know if you guys noticed, Michael, that Couch and I were making a lot of jokes about Mazda the other week, which included about 10 gifs in a row of things on fire.
I saw that.
I saw that.
So I did tweet back to him if it was time to get all the mantras and spells ready for the weekend. And then, of course, I had like a gif of Louise from Bob's Burgers laughing manically in front of fire. So, it was fitting. My evil laugh was very fitting. But I'm ready for some Mazdas to catch fire. Yeah.
Well, there's a problem with the Mazdas catching fire because I don't think there are any Mazdas in this race.
Yeah, there's no Mazdas in Le Mans, unfortunately.
Well, something will catch fire and it will be glorious. But
probably, but the Mazdas should be here. But that's a story for a whole another day.
Yeah, I would love for Mazda to be in LMP1, but
that'd be great. I'd watch that.
Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead.
No, but I have to ask the question of who isn't excited about Le Mans. Like, Le Mans was, I wish it more was today, but it's kind of, it was the beginning of auto manufacturers really taking racing seriously. So you kind of have to appreciate the roots behind it. And if only BOP wasn't a thing, it would be more true to what it was and kind of demonstrate the power of the manufacturers and what they're actually capable of doing and producing in a vehicle. But because you have to make it fair for everybody and your car just can't suck, others have to get dumbed down to run along with everybody else. So
would like to
I
point
still
out,
love it for what it is, but that sucks.
I would like to point out to your point there, when Corvette complained about the Dodge Viper killing everybody, the ACO told Corvette, well, make another car or make a better car. Now all of a sudden we have the BOP thing, and the BOP's gotten so ridiculous to where now there's a maximum I don't know what I was saying there, but a maximum length of the runs you can make between pit stops that every team now has to pit on the same lap, which is patently ridiculous, and it takes out the pit strategy in an endurance race. The one race where you need where pit strategy is extremely important, you've taken it out.
Or you have, what was it, Tony Kanaan got penalized at Rolex for not having a long enough stint because you had to reach a minimum of each stint. You could run no less or couldn't run more than. It was like, where are all the, like, I understand the safety of drivers is important, exhausted driving is a problem, especially when you're going, over 100 miles an hour. Most of us can't handle being half asleep driving 50 miles an hour, so I get it. However, like, there are some really wacky rules that you're just kind of like, how do you keep track of all of this to be able to run your race remotely successfully?
And there's always a balance of performance, but that doesn't stop Toyota from leading by, 20 laps.
Well, it's hard to have a balance of performance when one of your competitors doesn't have, a hybrid system. And Couch just said it's like Christmas in June. I love this race so hard. I love this race too. Yes, I love the GIF. His GIF game has been on point today, or GIF game, however you pronounce it, has been on point today.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens with this race. I'm still going to like it, even though some of the things drives me up the wall about the race, like the nonsensical pit road limits and things of that nature. But this race, to me, it is one of the few that harken back to the classic days where you were shutting down the streets in a town and the race to become a holiday, because the 24 Hours of Le Mans competed mostly on public roads outside the speedway. So you will see cars just rocketing down this little 2-lane highway for 24 hours in the dead of night. There's no lights around, no illumination, no grandstands, no illumination other than your headlights. And you just have to keep your foot down and pray to the Lord above that nothing in front of you, or nothing's going to show up in front of you in the next 3 seconds is going to make you have to take evasive action. It is racing back to its purest roots, and I love it. And the cars have gotten faster. What we can do with technology, with the technology of the reliability of the cars, has gotten to the point where they're on 10/10 for all 24 hours. It's not that they're, running 8/10 for 16 hours and the last 4 hours are actually getting after it. No, they are hammered down from hour 1 to hour 24. And it is amazing, even when some of the rules behind the scenes make you scratch your head.
It's true. And what I love too, especially in the racing community, is just the camaraderie around the weekend. Like, I have spent the last couple years hanging out with groups of people to watch the race, and it's just, there's just something fun to just be, hanging out, have the race on, and everybody's into it. Yeah, maybe we don't know all the drivers and how they're doing this season, and we can't remember that there's no Honda racing or no Mazda running for the 24 hours. But, the idea being that everybody still, it's, this 24-hour long legendary race that, it's something to watch. It's something to talk about. And you get to see cars run for 24 hours. How is that not exciting?
It's great. And I can't wait for this race to start. I'm actually going to be in Hagerstown on Saturday watching the youth races out there, and then the big race with the Sprint Car Madness in the evening. And you can check us out. We'll have WBGR Pit Walk on the WBGR Sports page, but on our Sports Facebook page. But I will have my cell phone when I'm not dealing with the Hagerstown race. I'll have my cell phone out. I will have probably the TuneIn app up. I'll have my headphones on. One ear cup will be on. I'll have Radio Le Mans on. I will be listening to the radio call of the race during the races in Hagerstown, because this race is just that important that I don't want to miss a minute of it, and I just can't wait to see how it goes. And the big question really in the prototype category is something going to happen to the Toyotas. So, because if those cars are bulletproof, they're going to win this race by 20 laps. But if something happens to those cars, this race gets a lot more interesting. And we know what happens to Toyotas at night here. It's not too long ago where both of them died within an hour of one another. So it is possible we could have one of those type of heartbreaks.
And while leading the race.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while...
You guys also cannot forget that this is actually, if I remember correctly, this is the end of the super season that's been going on for like a year and a half. So
yes, it is.
This is the end. So not only do we have something to look forward to as whoever wins the 24-hour, but we get to see the WEC champion too. So
yeah, and that of course Toyota already wrapped it up.
Well, I mean, because Toyota.
Yeah, but we still have LMP2.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have GTE to decide on. So
GTE is going to be a
racing
dog fight.
Oh yeah, I think it's between Corvette and Porsche.
it'll be Corvette and Porsche and GT Pro, and then I need to bring them the GT AM qualifying. I have the qualifying. I just need to look at who qualified first in GT AM. It was another Porsche, but you've got mostly Porsches and Ferraris in GTM. There's a Ford GT with Ben Keating in it also in GTM. It's just going to be a dog fight in the GT categories, and I just can't wait for it.
Oh yeah, and guys, even if it looks like a Corvette isn't gonna get it done, just know that they're always the team to run the slowest, and the next thing you know, they're there running for the championship. So
they're always the team that's there when the rest of the teams immolate themselves somehow. Then all of a sudden, Corvette picks up the championship, or picks up the win because they were just consistently and doing what they always do and sticking to their plan. So this race, you don't want to miss it. You can watch it on Motor Trend TV all 24 hours. You have to go and search your local listings for that channel, or watch it on the Motor Trend TV app, or listen to it on Radio Le Mans via the TuneIn app. So in the final 10 minutes, we're going to get into the IndyCar race. That was in Texas, the DXC Technology 600, which is 600 kilometers, not 600 miles, because I don't think these guys could do 600 miles in an Indy car.
500 miles, as painful as it is.
Yeah, they're dying at 500 miles. At 600, I don't think they would make it. Joseph Newgarden held off Alexander Rossi. Graham Rahal was third. He had a great run. Our friend Santino was highest of the rookies in fourth, and Ryan Hunter-Ray rounded out the top five. This was a good race, and one thing I will say, I don't think we had anybody go out because of contact. Actually, no, we did have some guys go out of contact. Never mind, I was looking at the wrong list. Never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, we should back it up, man.
16 of the 22 cars actually finished, but there were two epic saves in this race. One was Alexander Rossi, where he just dove to the bottom of the track in 3 and 4 to avoid a 2-car accident. And the second, which is save of the year, Zach Veach, early in the race, loses it off turn 2. He's on the backstretch, loops it around. By all rights, he should go into the inside wall, somehow saves it, loops it back around a second time, spins around and keeps it going. The yellow flag comes out, but somehow he doesn't hit anything and continues on his way. Now he ends up finishing 20th due to a handling issue, going out of the race after 172 or 248 laps. But guys, those were some epic saves on Saturday night.
I really wish I hadn't fallen asleep and could actually have seen that happen. That probably would have been awesome. Damn it. But yeah, everything that I've read about it, it's been incredible. I feel kind of bummed I missed it.
I mean, the Veach one was the best one, in my opinion, because that car is crashed. He just didn't hit anything. And how he didn't hit anything, I have no idea. But he saved, and I wish he could have finished the race.
Yeah, that kid has not had a lot of luck on ovals the last few weeks.
No, he
now
has
come
not.
to think of it.
Didn't have
Hopefully
the best
that
500
changes.
either.
No, that's what I'm pointing out. Yeah, because the 500, which I'm looking through the list and I was like, oh, look, Charlie Kimbo also didn't finish the race. A lot of names that I remember seeing at the bottom of the list on the 500.
Yeah, unfortunately, Colton Herta with contact finishing 18th. And, man, that kid has not had a lot of luck since we got to the ovals. I mean, Indy has the transmission die 5 laps into his first ever Indy 500. And then comes to Texas, ends up in an incident with Scott Dixon, which that throws the points championship completely on its head, as now it's a battle between the two Americans, Newgarden and Rossi. But Colton Herta had a great start to the season, became the youngest IndyCar winner, and now it's come to the summer. He hit the ovals, and it's all kind of turning to crap, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like with any rookie, it's a new season. You're still learning things, so he's, as much as he's ran Indy Lights, he's still got a lot to learn. Just a little bit harder, apparently, than everybody else.
Well, he's a rookie, and I don't think Indy Lights runs Texas or a lot of the ovals coming up. So this is his first time getting a look at these tracks, and that's going to be he's got a learning curve ahead of him. Now we should be. I gotta find my IndyCar link back again, so I'm gonna have to go back to the IndyCar website so I can see which track is coming up. They do have, I believe it's a road course, Road America, coming up. But do not quote me on that yet. Yes, it is Road America.
It is. Yep.
So should have some more luck there with it being a road course. He's seen that track before. But, man, he has got to get his season back on track after he was doing a lot better last year. He was doing a lot better at the beginning of the season, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's just a spout of bad luck. We've seen this before with a lot of drivers. So, maybe he just needs to make some adjustments and figure it out from there, or, find a rabbit's foot or a witch or something. I don't know. Something to give him better luck. Lucky cat. Lucky cats are good.
Yes.
There you go. Get a lucky cat, Herta. Maybe that'll do it.
Connor Daly also had a great run, finishing 11th, and he's starting to make some noise and make a case that he deserves a second crack at this thing in a full season effort. Now, I know he's going to be running the ovals for the rest of the year. If he does well, I'm hoping that
Has that been officially confirmed?
I think it has.
Because prior to the race, they said he was just running this race, running Texas. He wasn't confirmed for everything else. So
I thought I had seen that he had been confirmed for the rest, but I may have just seen
we
that
can look
wrong.
into it for next week. Yeah, I do have to say, and I am working on a piece. Time is of the essence, though, so I haven't had as much time as I wanted to actually get that finished. But I did have the chance to interview Connor at Detroit, and he made a good point about talking about how easily you're forgotten in this sport. And, we pointed out he had done a lot of really good runs his rookie season, as well as had a podium. I think he ran second in Detroit that year. And then, you end up at Foyt with a crap season, and then, you're dumped on the curb and are struggling to find rides anywhere. So it's great to see that he's able to come back with, competent teams too. Not saying that Foyt is an incompetent team, but as we've been seeing K&N and Lace running, back end of the field, it's nice being able to see him get that break that he's needed and really prove, like, I can take anything and do well with this. So, hi guys, hire me.
So your point standings in IndyCar, and we'll get to the results of the race in just a little bit. Newgarden leads with 367, Rossi 342, Pagenaud 319. Scott Dixon has dropped back to 4th, 278. Takuma Sato, who's having an excellent season for Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan, currently 5th in the points with 272. Will Power has 254 points in 6th. And 7th through 9th, Ryan Hunter-Ray, 252. Graham Rahal, 211. And Santino Ferrucci, highest of the rookies, at 193. So the next race will be June 21st through June 23rd in Road America. That race can be seen at noon on NBC and listened to on the Advanced Auto Parts Radio Network and also on the IndyCar Series app. And your top three from the DXC Technology 600 were Joseph Newgarden, Alexander Rossi, and Graham Rahal. So this would be the part of the show where we would do our picks for nearest the win this weekend. But there aren't any, so we're going to go straight to the finale of the show. Remember, check out Lita's writings on gpgirl.com. Mine are at wbgrnetwork.com. I'll have some new stories up about the racing in Hagerstown this weekend. You can see those next week on the website. Remember, you can hear all of our episodes, if you've missed the episode, on Stitcher, iTunes, the Spreaker Show Reel, Google Play, and now YouTube and other places where podcasts can be heard. Also, make sure to follow our social medias on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, I'm at DK Jr. 12. Lita's at Lolita Camello. Caitlin's at Caitlin Seam. Michael's at Stargazer_FX if you want to chat with us during the week. So we want to thank you all for listening. And for Caitlin, Michael, Lita, my name is Daryl. This has been The Extra Mile, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.